I never thought I'd be the guy caught in a situation like this. I mean, I always believed in the whole marriage thing, commitment, honesty, working through stuff. My wife Lisa and I had been together for about 6 years, and honestly I thought we had a pretty solid relationship, at least on the surface. She was the kind of woman who always looked perfect, makeup done, hair flawless, the kind of girl who'd post "happy wife, happy life" memes and act like everything was fine. But lately something felt off. She had been more distant, less interested in intimacy, and honestly she was bitchy about everything, snapping at me over little things. I figured stress at work or maybe just a phase. I wanted to believe it was nothing. But then, little signs started stacking up. She started hiding her phone more. I'd catch her deleting texts or changing her password. She'd rush to lock her phone whenever I came near, which was unusual because she used to be pretty open about it. She also started working late more often, claiming she was trying to close some deals. But her stories never quite added up. Still, I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I gave her the benefit of the doubt for a while, but deep down I knew something wasn't right. One night I was going through some old emails on her laptop, just to see if there was anything obvious, and I stumbled across a string of messages that knocked the wind out of me. They weren't just polite exchanges with a client or some business talk. No, they were flirtatious, explicit at times, and downright inappropriate. The guy's name was Mark, her boss, and the way she talked about him was different from how she usually talked about colleagues. There were texts about stealing moments, hiding things, and even plans to meet up outside office hours. My stomach sank. I remember reading one text where she called him the hottest thing I've seen in a long time, and that's when I knew I'd found something I wasn't supposed to see. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. My mind was swirling with questions. How long has this been going on? How could she do this to me? We had a good life, or so I thought. And right there, I knew I couldn't pretend I didn't see it anymore. The trust was shattered. I closed her laptop slowly, my hands trembling, and I just sat there trying to process what I'd just discovered. I knew I had to confront her, but I wasn't ready. The anger, the hurt, the betrayal, it all hit me at once. That's when I started planning my next move. I didn't want to explode right there, not yet. I needed to gather my thoughts, maybe have a talk, but I also knew that the woman I thought I married had been lying to my face. The woman I'd trusted with my life was sneaking around, inviting her boss to work dinners. And apparently they'd been sleeping together. At least, that's what the text suggested. The idea that she'd even invite him to our anniversary dinner, claiming he was just a client, made me see how deeply she'd crossed a line. That night, I stayed up, staring at the ceiling, trying to decide whether I should just blow everything apart or try to salvage what was left of this mess. Honestly, I didn't know if I wanted to save it anymore. The betrayal ran too deep. The next morning, I woke up with a heavy weight pressing down on my chest. My mind kept circling back to those texts, her lies, and the thought that she had been sleeping with her boss behind my back. I couldn't shake the image of her inviting him to our anniversary dinner. I still remember how she had looked that night, smiling, acting all sweet, nothing out of the ordinary on the surface. But I knew better now. I saw the signs and the messages. Nothing was going to be the same after this. I decided I couldn't let her keep pulling the wool over my eyes. I needed answers, and I needed them now. I waited until she left for work, then I quietly grabbed her phone. I needed to see what else was there, more proof, more confirmation. As I scrolled through her messages, I found even more details. They had exchanged dozens of texts, flirty, suggestive, sometimes outright dirty. I saw pictures of her, sexy and provocative, sent to him. My stomach twisted. I felt sick. It was one thing to suspect, but seeing it confirmed in black and white made it real. This was happening. My wife was cheating on me with her boss. Right under my nose. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind for months. I'd always trusted her, always believed we had something real. And now I felt like a fool. I started to get angry, anger at her for lying, betrayal, and at myself for not noticing sooner. I wanted to confront her immediately, but I knew that wouldn't do any good. I needed to plan my approach carefully. I didn't want her to spin some bullshit story or turn the tables on me. I needed to be ready. When she came home that evening, I was already waiting. I didn't say a word at first. I just looked at her, my face tight, my jaw clenched. She was surprised, maybe even a little nervous. "Hey, babe," she said, trying to sound normal, but her voice cracked. I just held up her phone, showing her the screen with the messages. Her eyes widened and her face went pale. The facade crumbled in seconds. "What the hell is this?" I demanded, voice low but sharp. She looked like she was about to cry, but her eyes were filled with defiance. "It's nothing," she insisted, "just some work stuff. You're reacting." I could see through her bullshit immediately. That's when she started lying, saying it was a misunderstanding, that Mark was just a business acquaintance, that nothing serious was going on. She told me he was just a sex-addicted asshole, and she never meant to hurt me. She said I was paranoid, controlling, insecure, classic gaslighting. But I knew better. I knew that wasn't the truth. The truth was, she had been sneaking around, lying to my face, and probably sleeping with him for months. That moment hit me like a punch in the gut. I felt everything, anger, heartbreak, disgust, collide inside me. How could she do this? How could she betray me like this? I thought about all the good times, all the plans we made, and then I saw her true self, the bitchy, manipulative woman who lied and cheated. I was furious, but I also felt something else, an overwhelming sense of betrayal. I didn't want to scream at her or call her names, but I knew I had to get out of that moment with some kind of clarity. I told her I needed some time to think, and I walked out, leaving her standing there, her face a mask of guilt and defiance. That night I couldn't sleep. The images kept flashing through my mind. I kept replaying our last conversation, her lies, her excuses. I was devastated. I felt like I lost a part of myself. How could someone I loved so much turn out to be this kind of person? I started questioning everything, my judgment, her sincerity, whether I ever really knew her at all. I realized this wasn't just about her cheating. It was about trust, respect, and whether I could ever look at her the same way again. Deep down, I knew things had to change. Either she'd come clean and we'd fix this, or I'd have to walk away. But one thing was certain. My life was about to change forever. The days that followed were the hardest I've ever experienced. I felt like I was walking around in a fog, trying to piece together what was real and what was just a lie she'd told me. Every time I saw her, her face was a reminder of how badly I'd been betrayed. She kept trying to brush it off, acting like she didn't see what the big deal was, calling me paranoid or possessive for confronting her. She even had the nerve to say it was just a fling, that it didn't mean anything, that she still loved me. That made me laugh bitterly. Love, after all this? Yeah, right. I knew I couldn't keep living like this, not without some kind of plan. I started thinking about what I wanted. Part of me thought about just walking away, cutting my losses. But another part, something darker, wanted revenge. I was so furious, so humiliated, I couldn't just let her get away with it. I wanted her to see what she lost, to feel the pain I was feeling. I wanted her to know that I wasn't just some idiot who'd get cheated on and stay silent. No, I was going to make her regret this. So I started gathering more evidence. I installed a tracking app on her phone just to see where she was going when she left the house. I also reached out to her boss, Mark, in a way that seemed casual but was really about confirming what I already suspected. Turns out, they had been planning to meet up at a hotel for a business trip that she never mentioned. I found hotel receipts, secret texts, and even a few pictures from their last rendezvous. The proof was piling up, and I knew I had to do something big. I couldn't let her deny it now. She was caught in her own web of lies. One evening, I decided to confront her again, but this time I had a plan. I told her I wanted to talk, just us, without any interruptions. She looked nervous, but she played it cool, like she still thought she could manipulate her way out of it. We sat down in the living room, and I just laid everything out, what I'd found, how I felt. Her face twisted, and she tried her usual tricks, denial, blame, telling me I was crazy, but I didn't buy it anymore. I pulled out the receipts, the screenshots, everything. Her eyes widened in shock, or maybe panic, I couldn't tell which. She started yelling, calling me paranoid and possessive, saying I was overreacting. "It's just sex," she snapped. "You're making a big deal out of nothing." I looked at her, feeling a mixture of rage and sadness. I realized she had zero remorse, zero accountability. She kept lying, spinning her web of excuses, trying to make me doubt what I saw with my own eyes. That's when I lost it. I told her she was done, that her lies had destroyed whatever trust we had left. I told her I was done being played for a fool, that I wasn't going to be the guy who gets cheated on and stays quiet. She threw a fit, yelled at me, called me all sorts of names, controlling, insecure, jealous. But I didn't care anymore. I was over it. That night I packed a bag, told her I was leaving, and walked out of that house for good. I didn't even look back. I knew I deserved better than someone who could lie and cheat so easily. Honestly, I felt a strange sense of relief, like I was finally free from the lies she had built around us. Now I'm staying with a friend, trying to piece myself back together. It's weird. Part of me still loves her, part of me hates her, but mostly I just feel numb. I've realized something important through all this. Trust is everything, and once it's broken, it's almost impossible to get back. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know I won't be hurt like this again. I want to believe that someday I'll find someone who's honest, who respects me, who doesn't invite her boss to our anniversary dinner and then lie about it. But for now, I'm just trying to heal. The weeks after I left were a blur. I threw myself into work and tried to avoid thinking about what I'd lost. Honestly, every day felt like a battle, waking up, remembering the betrayal, then trying to put on a brave face. I kept replaying everything in my head, wondering how I missed all the signs, how I didn't see her true nature earlier. There was this sick feeling in my stomach that refused to go away, like I'd been played for a fool for years. Part of me kept asking myself if I could have done something differently, if I should have seen the signs sooner, but the truth was, I'd been blind because I loved her. One day, I finally decided I needed closure. I reached out to her, just a simple message. We need to talk. I need answers. She responded pretty quickly, defensive, angry, but also trying to act like she was the victim. She accused me of being jealous, insecure, and said I was overreacting. She claimed that Mark was just a temporary thing, that she never meant for it to go this far, and that I was just being paranoid. I could tell she was lying. Her words, her tone, all of it was a cover-up. She kept insisting she still loved me, that she wanted to fix things, but I didn't buy it. I had seen too much, had the proof right in front of me. The real turning point came when I decided to dig a little deeper. I hired a private investigator, not because I wanted to catch her again, but because I needed to understand how deep the betrayal ran. It turned out that her affair with Mark had been going on for months. They met in secret, stayed late at the office, and even took trips together. The PI found hotel receipts, photos of them at restaurants, and even recordings of her talking about how Mark makes her feel alive. I read the reports in disbelief. How could I have been so blind? How did I miss all of this? It was a hard pill to swallow, but I realized I needed to stop letting her manipulate me with her lies. I finally saw her for what she was, a woman who had no respect for me, no loyalty. I started to feel a strange mixture of anger and relief. Anger at her for cheating, and relief that I finally knew the truth. I knew I couldn't stay with someone who would betray me so completely. The pain was immense, but I also felt a strange sense of liberation. I started to think about my future, about rebuilding my life without her. One night I sat down and wrote her a message, short and direct. I told her that I knew everything and that I was done. I told her I deserved someone who actually appreciated me, someone who wouldn't lie and cheat behind my back. I wanted her to know that I was moving on, that she had lost me for good. I felt a weight lift off my shoulders after sending it. It was the final act of closure I needed. I understood now that I couldn't fix this, that trust had been irreparably broken. All I could do was walk away and try to find my peace again. And honestly, that's what I'm doing now, trying to put the pieces back together, piece by piece. The days turned into weeks, and slowly I began to reclaim my life. It wasn't easy. Some nights were full of restless sleep and endless thoughts about her, what went wrong, and how I could have been so blind. But I also started to feel a sense of clarity, a conviction that I deserved better than being lied to and cheated on. The betrayal had cut deep, but in a strange way, it forced me to confront some ugly truths about trust, loyalty, and the importance of listening to my gut. I began focusing on myself more. I started going to the gym, reconnecting with friends I'd neglected, and even picking up new hobbies. It was almost like I was trying to rebuild my identity after she shattered it. I knew I wouldn't forget what she did, but I also realized I didn't want to carry that pain forever. I needed to move forward, and honestly, I owed it to myself to do so. Every day was still a struggle, but I felt stronger with each passing moment. One afternoon, I ran into Lisa unexpectedly at a coffee shop. She looked different, tired, a little more subdued, like she finally realized the extent of what she'd lost. She came over, trying to act like everything was fine, but I saw right through her. She apologized, kind of, but it was hollow. I told her I appreciated the apology, but I didn't want to be friends or keep any contact. I told her I needed space to heal and that I couldn't have her dragging me back into that chaos. She looked at me with a mix of regret and anger, but I didn't care. It was over, and I was done with her lies. That moment was a turning point. I understood that forgiveness wasn't something I was ready for yet, and maybe I never would be. But what mattered was that I was taking control of my life again. I'd learned a lot from all this, about trusting the wrong person, about how betrayal can twist your thoughts, and about how sometimes the only way to heal is to cut ties completely. I knew I had to focus on myself now, rebuild my confidence and trust again, just not with her. Looking back, I realized this experience changed me. It's made me more cautious, more aware of my own worth, and more determined to find someone who actually values me. I don't regret discovering her affair. I'd rather face the brutal truth than live in a lie. It hurt like hell, but it also set me free. I hope anyone else going through something similar can learn that you're stronger than you think, and that sometimes the only way to move forward is to face the pain head-on and let it go. I'm still healing, but I know one thing for sure. I'll never let someone betray me like that again. Ever. Now, sitting here reflecting on everything, I realize that I've come out of this a different person. The betrayal was a gut punch, no doubt about it. But it also forced me to wake up and see things clearly. That trust has to be earned, and not everyone is worth your faith. I've learned the hard way that sometimes people are just good at hiding who they really are until it's too late. Lisa was that person for me. She had it all: looks, charm, a seemingly perfect life. And behind that, she was just dishonest, selfish, and willing to cheat her way through a marriage. I don't hate her, not anymore. I think I've finally accepted that some people are just fundamentally broken in ways I can't fix. I don't regret catching her. I regret trusting her blindly for so long. I've also learned that revenge doesn't really fix anything. Yeah, I wanted her to feel what I felt: humiliated, betrayed, heartbroken. But in the end, I realized that the best revenge was walking away with my dignity intact. That's what I did. I took control, I cut her out of my life, and I moved on. Now I focus on rebuilding myself. I've started therapy, trying to understand how I let things get so far and how I can prevent it from happening again. I've become more cautious in relationships, but also more confident in my worth. I know I deserve honesty and respect, and I refuse to settle for less. The pain will always be there a little, but it's getting easier to breathe, to see the future as something I can shape again, something mine, not hers. And honestly, I don't want to hold on to anger forever. It's a heavy burden, and I've carried enough of it. What I want now is to find happiness again, genuine, honest happiness with someone who respects me for who I am. I want to trust again, but this time I'll be more careful. I'll listen to my instincts, read the signs, and never ignore that little voice telling me something isn't right. To anyone out there who's been betrayed, I'll say this: it hurts, it cuts deep, but you can survive it. You will come out on the other side stronger. Trust is vulnerable, yes, but don't ever let someone's lies destroy your belief in yourself. Keep your head up, learn from it, and remember, you're better off without someone who cheats or lies to you. Life goes on, and with time, the pain lessens. You just have to hold on, be patient, and choose yourself above all. That's what I'm doing now, and I finally feel like I'm on the right path again.